What's up, everyone? The team behind Assetto Corsa Evo has just pushed a big patch, and the early access build for v0.5 is rolling out tomorrow, February 12th, 2026, which means a bunch of new toys and systems to test in-game. Right off the bat, there's a change that's already getting people talking. The developer, Kuno Simulazioni, has removed the career mode selector from the startup flow, so the game now boots straight into open mode. That's a big UX shift. If you were used to the menu flow and the way career used to shepherd you through progression, that option is gone from the main startup menu. The studio has said that cars you previously bought in career should still appear in your My Cars collection, but the direct career entry point has been disabled. Content-wise, there's a nice batch of additions. You get 7 new car models, ranging from classic to modern, including things that will make both circuit purists and nostalgia fans smile. Alongside that, the game adds 2 full circuits, each with multiple layouts, so there's fresh asphalt to play around on immediately. One of those circuits is the famous Watkins Glen International, and the other is the high-speed technical complex at Circuit Paul Ricard. Both arrive with several layouts to choose from, which gives players a decent variety of racing scenarios without needing extra mods. Those new cars and tracks are a core part of this build and should change how a lot of online sessions feel. Now let me talk about the track cut system, because that's one of the more technical but gameplay impacting changes. The patch introduces a game-based track cut logic. When you cut, the game evaluates whether you actually gained time by doing so. If the evaluation finds no net time gain, you won't be warned. But if there's a measurable advantage, you'll have 500 meters to give that time back. If you don't, the system will escalate through warnings, time penalties, or even disqualification depending on how much unreturned time remains. The devs say they've tried to make the system sensible. It should penalize you where you gain time, but not where a corner off actually costs you time, which is a nod to balancing strictness with fairness. For people used to the strictest track limit enforcement, this is a different approach, more about net advantage than simply touching the grass. There are also a stack of quality of life and under-the-hood upgrades that are worth flagging because they'll change the feel and performance in subtle ways. A free camera mode has been enabled so screenshotters and content creators can finally frame shots the way they want without being locked to preset camera positions, and that pairs nicely with some of the graphics work done in this update. The rendering pipeline sees improvements, and the game's DLSS implementation has been updated to version 4.5, which should give players with compatible NVIDIA hardware better scaling and performance headroom. On the physics and handling front, there's an improved differential model, ESC tweaks, launch control additions, and a host of individual car updates, so expect variations in drivability across the roster as setups and maps are refined. The changelog itself is pretty granular, and I want to read some of those specifics out because they matter when you're choosing a server or tuning a car. Pit stop controls have been added to the MFD so you can manage stop behavior without fumbling through menus. HUD options gain notification priority settings, localization updates arrived, and blue flags are now functional, which, for anyone running mixed lobbies or AI races, will help race flow. There are also fixes for some nasty edge case bugs. Things like crashes when restarting certain special events, AI fuel estimation fixes, and corrections for car customization logic where optional items could overlap. Little stuff like the last selected car persisting across menus and added the ability to paste server credentials from the clipboard are the kind of niceties that make time in the menus less painful. On the realism and simulation side, the physics team didn't hold back. They've started a revamp of dynamic weather and track simulation and server-client syncing of conditions. That's flagged as a multi-update process, so consider this the first step toward more consistent weather simulation across multiplayer. The aero map interpolation has been refined, differential locking support has been added for the Audi Sport Quattro, and there's support for solid rear axles to have adjustable camber and tow where applicable. Also, a lot of car-specific balance tweaks are listed. BMW, Porsche, Ferrari, and others all received setup updates, EDIF changes, and calibrations intended to improve balance and drivability. If you like to tune, expect to spend some time relearning limits on several cars. Audio changes slipped into the list as well, with volume tweaks for some Formula cars, reworked audio for launch control, added bodywork damage sounds, and Fmod file optimizations to keep the package leaner. Visual and UI overlays got polished too. New icons, updated dash displays for certain cars, and fixes that prevent visual customization bugs from persisting when incompatible items are selected. It's the kind of patch where some things you notice instantly, and others reveal themselves over the next few sessions as the systems interact. One more quick note, the article covering these notes was written by Ross McGregor and published on February 11th, 2026, which is where I pulled the changelog breakdown from. If you're the sort of person who likes to read the raw notes line by line, that's the place to check. But I wanted to give you a more conversational run-through so you know what'll actually change when you jump in. Alright, that's the rundown. Expect fresh cars, Fresh tracks, a new approach to track limits, camera freedom for screenshots, noticeable physics tweaks, and a cleaner visual and UI experience overall. If you're planning to race online, double-check server rules around the new track cut logic so you're not caught off guard. And if you spend time tuning, carve out a little practice time to feel how the differential and ESC changes affect corner exits.